MiWayJourneys, and we have planned a trip, and I've gone on the trip, and I want to tell you about the ideation and the adventure as well. So I'm going to set it up into two parts: one about going on the trip, and then the second part about some screenshots and things that I did while I was on the adventure. So just a snapshot of some pictures here on the opener for our Tucson journey. So, disclaimer, I am not in any way associated with an affiliate of any of the products or services that I may mention in the video. Just merely this is what worked for me and where I stayed or what I did when I was in this. But feel free to reach me directly if you have any questions about this adventure. So, basically going back to my original statements of building on an adventure, of basically determining, where am I going to go? What do I want to see when I'm there? Are there somebody that can provide me some services that maybe do better than me just kind of feeling my way around and just kind of going point to point, booking transport and accommodations, and then start the adventure. So, for this trip, as I did in the opener, we're heading to Tucson. We used all of the typical research of Travel Advisor or TripAdvisor, some YouTubes, Instagrams, just giving me some images and thoughts about where to go while I'm in the Tucson area, and then using the browser of your choice. But for this trip, I really did hone in on TripAdvisor, Hertz, the National Park Service, the Catalina State Park, and Staybridge, with couple surprises in there you'll see here in just a moment. For this trip, I did use for keeping notes and things like that. I did use Wonderlog. I find this a great app. It allows me to find locations, plots them on the map, and then I can figure out in an order of things, and it lets me know hours of operations and costs and things like that. So really can't speak enough highly about Wonderlog. Really enjoy the service in itself. So my decisions were for this trip to go to in the spring months while it was a little cooler. We did it for 5 days. We did arrange a rental vehicle. We stayed at an extended stay location near the airport, which really worked out because we could eat in and kind of move at our own pace. We did pre-book some excursions, and I'm going to talk about those in just a moment. And for two people, as far as what we spent on our excursions, I think was maybe about $300. It wasn't that much, but we did book a couple of things, tours that were, maybe $80, $90, very inexpensive for one. And then I'm going to talk about one of the other tools that I used here in just a moment. So, if we look at, where kind of I went, we did go to the Saguaro National Park, both east and west. I didn't know it was the park was in two parts. I think both are very, from a desert perspective and trails, very, very equal. But I think the west side may have a little bit of favoritism, as it did have some aspects about sunset and things were a little bit better than the east side. But both, from a desert perspective of saguaros and cactus and trails, both were equal unto themselves. We wanted to make a stop at Gates Pass. We did schedule a Tucson secret food tour. Highly recommend. I'm going to talk about that a little more. Catalina State Park, a beautifully run state park, great trails. Went out there and did some hiking. Met a lot of great people while I was on trail there. That was great. Mount Lemmon, really great seeing the levels as we went kind of from the desert level down at the bottom to a pine forest on the top, which is kind of like an ecological island in itself, from an environmental standpoint of just seeing the difference as you go up the mountain. Walk around, be around the Tucson Mercado Annex. Very interesting little area of small shops that are in a nice, beautifully maintained little park area with storage containers that have been modified to be stores and restaurants and food places. Great place there. There were a number of breweries that we looked in on, but Barrio, hands down, was one of the better breweries to visit. Highly recommend stopping in there and having trying some of their product, or even just going for the food in itself, or both were excellent. We did do a little side adventure out to St. Xavier del Bac Mission. Really a phenomenal location of Southwestern architecture, and then the story in itself about Father Kino there in itself. So take the time, go over there. Two places I had been before earlier and maybe of interest to you, which was the Desert Museum and also the old Tucson studio, which is where a lot of Western movies had been filmed. And now it's a destination you can go and walk around in there as well. So I mentioned the Tucson food tour. Can't say enough about it. You'll see some of the images in the second part of this video. It was a 4-hour walking tour, very easy. Not a even in the it was like 70, 80s while we were there. Very doable. You weren't out in the sun for extended period. The guy kind of moved us around, and you're in and out of places. But you're seeing some of the food. That we had while we were on it. We started out with the cochinita, which is a Mexican pastry, kind of like a gingerbread cookie in the shape of a little javelina, which is kind of like a wild pig kind of thing that's to the southwest. The Sonoran hot dog. You can decide whether you're a beaner or non-beaner when you give that Sonoran hot dog. It's a little bit different than the hot dog that we see here in the Northeast. It's a little more beefier with a few other accoutrements that make it that traditional Sonoran hot dog. We had some great homemade tamales, as well as a special elote pizza. Definitely worth the trying. We had a little slice. It was great. Handcrafted teas, which is kind of it's a cool tea. You could get a hot tea there, but basically they were serving more cool teas of any variety and stuff. Definitely thumbs up on the handcrafted teas. And then we had some gelato toward the end of the secret dish is what we had for that day. So secret food tour, highly recommend if you're out in Tucson and want to explore the city, learn something about the culture and the city in itself. Great service that's there. Mount Lemmon, again, we went to the Iron Door Cafe, a restaurant at the very top. It made it really worthwhile for that venture up the mountain to have a nice stop, have some great, excellent local food. Again, great service, really worth the trip going up the mountain and seeing the different things. But for Mount Lemmon and for the Saguaro National Park, definitely worth using some guides. In the next slide, we're going to talk about what I used as a guide to go up. But to track the tour, share with friends as you're traveling, or to create a memory album for the end. Track my tours. I still use this service for my trips, so I can kind of share with people that weren't able to make the adventure with me. And then I have a nice output in the end that it does print out to like a little photo album with all of the points of interest and comments that people made along the way. So great effort there with Track My Tour. We're going to see some of the places that I went to using one of the services that I use for the tours, which is very similar to a Gapper guide, which I've talked about before. But this one, it's GPS enabled. You drive, it talks to you while you're driving and gives you recommendations of places to pull off or side trips off of that road. And we use that both at the Saguaro National Parks East and West and on Mount Lemmon. Really recommend that trip. But again, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Love to get more people to kind of go along with this ideation travel that I've been creating here. So let's go.